Violent crime is rising in cities across the nation. One city in Virginia had a 76% increase in major crime in just 1 year, 2022. Since then, a statewide approach emphasizing early intervention is helping young people stay on the right side of the law. Tara Mergener shows us how Operation Ceasefire is lowering crime rates and turning lives around.
State Attorney General Jason Miyares launched Operation Ceasefire less than 2 years ago in Virginia cities with high rates of gun-related offenses. Since then, nearly all of those participating have seen a downturn in crime, a trend Miyares says benefits the entire state. From shootings and armed robberies to vicious assaults, a number of urban areas across the United States are besieged by violence. Virginia is no exception, seeing its homicide rate steadily climbing since 2018.
When you're too afraid to go out your front door, to go out at night, or to go out to a restaurant or dine or visit with your friends, that's a problem.
People in Hopewell, south of Richmond, felt that way as they experienced a crime spike affecting nearly every corner of their community.
The black SUV he was pursuing fired shots at that deputy.
From its streets to its schools.
In 2022, we saw about a 76% increase in crime, specifically violent crime, overall major crime.
We have seen just horrific increases in that type of behavior. Our last school year, we lost 6 children from the age of 8 to 18 to gun violence and crime.
We supposed to be planning birthday parties, not funerals. This is crazy to me.
In response to this epidemic, Attorney General Jason Miyares resurrected a crime-fighting approach that first saw success 20 years ago in Richmond. He took Operation Ceasefire to more than a dozen of Virginia's high-crime areas in 2022 and insists it's working.
Well, Operation Ceasefire is both early intervention, making sure that young people have a path other than joining gangs, but also if you cross that line, you're committing violent crime, we have our ceasefire prosecutors that are going to prosecute and hold these people accountable.
What makes this program unique is its focus on prevention.
We know people who are committing violent crimes. We have to stop them. It's not just about lock them up and throw away the key.
To reach these communities, Hopewell authorities take the extra step of partnering with a local nonprofit, such as Real Life. Once police identify likely offenders and potential victims, members of the group's Project Safe, Alive, and Free step in.
We send an officer, a community member, and our project coordinator with Real Life to the people that we want to custom notify, and then Real Life takes over from there and builds those relationships and works with that person or that group to try to prevent any type of future violence or any type of retaliatory shootings.
Also, it's called a custom notification, and so it is our life coach, it's somebody from law enforcement. We talk with teachers, the football coach, the probation. So we really have a big picture of this person.
Advocates, some who've turned away from a life of crime, show that change is possible.
We can get together and talk to the gang leaders, the gang members, talk to the active shooters, the guys that's really putting in the work, and have a sit-down conversation with them to give them something other than going back to what they was doing in the beginning.
Understand that whatever you do in life is going to come back to you. If you're out there doing dirt, doing anything wrong, if somebody drops some money on the ground and you pick it up and you don't give it back to them, anything you do negative, you're gonna have to pay for it. And that's a fact. But the same thing goes for when you do positive things.
Faith is also an important part of the protocol.
Knocking on people's doors, the peace walks that we do, everyone has been open and receptive. So I think it's making a small difference for the residents to know that somebody cares. Somebody is here in the community. We're not law enforcement, but we have a higher power, of course. We're faith enforcement.
Less than 2 years since the launch, early results are promising, with a significant reduction in violent crime and thousands of confiscated firearms. Hopewell stands out with a decreased crime rate of more than a third since last year. and a 71% reduction in gun violence. As of March, Operation Ceasefire has prosecuted 155 cases, resulting in more than 100 convictions and dozens of pending trials. The goal is to add more cities to the program and hopefully expand its success. And Tara Mergener, CBN News.
I don't think any of us want to live in a society where crime is rampant. We're seeing the pictures all through the news of gangs coming in and robbing retail establishments. We're seeing the horrible video of the gun violence and the rise in all of that. What's the solution? Well, I think we've been through, well, let's get tough on crime. Here's a stat that you may not know, but I hope you pay attention to. Of all the countries, the industrialized countries in the world, the highest incarceration rate is right here in the United States. So are we tough on crime? I think the answer is quite clearly yes. We've got a lot of people, a lot of our citizens arrested. But is that now the solution going forward? Do we need to get tougher on crime? Do we need to build more jails? I think the answer to that is clearly no, because that doesn't seem to be working. What might work is the church. And if the church can cooperate with police departments and get into early intervention and say to young people, you don't have to be in a gang. You can come be part of our group. We want to provide community. We want to provide an answer to your needs. We want to make sure you have a hope and a future. We've seen it right here in the city of Norfolk with a ride-along program where chaplains go along, pastors go along with police so that it de-escalates situation. What we're seeing in Hopewell, Virginia is early intervention and how can that educate people? There's a much better way to go. This is time for the church to rise up. This isn't a time to get tough on crime. How about let's get tough on sin and let's get really abundant in grace and let people know there's a much better way to live.